Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to be going through the confessions of a digital marketer, how to get into the industry, what are some fundamentals, and just some, hopefully, good career advice. I've got Miller from our team here.
Hello.
Who's going to be sharing all about how she got a job.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Cool. Yeah, I think what I might do is start with kind of what we look for and how you can kind of get a job in the industry, what's kind of attractive from an employee perspective, and kind of what some decisions are. So I think, number one is, okay, cool. So you want a job in digital marketing. Obviously you're thinking, hey, I want to kind of use my creative skills to help grow businesses and or brands. I think one of the interesting things to think about is, do you work in an agency or do you work at a client? Did you go through that kind of thought process?
I didn't. I think because I was a little bit younger and I didn't really know much about the agency world. I didn't really consider like what the options kind of thing. Like I kind of just wanted to get into the industry and I didn't really consider what those differences would be. Obviously now a little bit more experienced, I can kind of see both sides, but I think ultimately it's very a personal choice, I suppose, on whether you decide to go client or agency side. Obviously both have their ups and downs. But yeah, that's definitely probably the first thing to consider, I suppose, if that's kind of what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think an easy way to kind of look at it would be the pros of an agency side is you're going to get more exposure to different types of businesses, right? So you're going to get multiple clients across multiple industries, probably with very different challenges, which could suit somebody who's looking for a lot of variety. Or the other option would be client side, where you really want to kind of get deep with a single brand, really understand it. It's a brand that you obviously might feel passionate about already. So that's kind of one thing to think about. From a, I think, agency standpoint, one of the things that we look for, especially for younger people coming through and looking to get a job in the industry, either as an intern or a graduate or junior role, is do you have any type of prior experience? And it could be as simple as, hey, I ran or tried to run a little Shopify store, or hey, I helped my mum or father out with a advertising project or whatever it is. I think those real practical applications outside of what you do at university are pretty useful, right?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I didn't have a marketing degree. I had a degree in a different industry, but I had a lot of experience just kind of being, I suppose, client side, working at an e-commerce store and really kind of seeing the different I guess, elements that go into running a business, which kind of gave me a pretty unique perspective when coming into the agency side, of having a pretty good understanding of what it takes from a client's perspective, like what are the challenges that they're kind of dealing with in-house. And then I can obviously kind of resonate with that a little bit just from my experience. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've certainly got some funny stories from interviewing. I think it's it's a really interesting experience. Like the way that we look at it is like we've got real needs and we understand very clearly about what makes a great digital marketer, what makes it the individual a great fit for our team, and then kind of how we can invest and grow them. But occasionally we get it wrong.
Yeah.
And we end up working with people that maybe aren't the right fit. And
Yeah.
I think the thing there is, certainly from our standpoint, and something to consider if you're kind of new to a role, is don't be afraid to kind of ask, hey, is this not working? Like, and just be open and honest about kind of like, hey, is this right for me or is it not right for me? Because more often than not, what we'll do is we'll try and help you into a different path if it's not the right path for you.
Yeah.
Because, it is a junior, or if you're trying to get exposure to an industry, you're just trying things out, right? You're kind of learning.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I came on board, I kind of had that option of going sort of more like retention side or paid media side, and I ended up sticking with paid media, like customer acquisition side of things, just because that's what I found was the most interesting, and I found that felt more natural to me rather than more of the email stuff. But I know that I definitely was, when I was interning, doing a bit of both and really getting exposure to that, which was really beneficial, because now when I do have to kind of jump on to things that aren't necessarily in my day-to-day role, I can still kind of navigate my way around other aspects of our agency, which is super helpful. And just having more of a broad understanding of all of this different services that we do offer for our clients is really helpful, and would also be super helpful if you are going client side from an agency perspective. You kind of have a little bit more of a broader knowledge of the whole rather than being super niche.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very good point. I think that's another good little kind of takeaway is like, if you're in somewhere you like and you feel like you can grow, don't be afraid to kind of expose yourself to new things, put yourself out there to try and figure out the things that you do like. Certainly in my career, the way that I've kind of grown it is it's been more of a journey of figuring out the things I don't like. Some people are genuinely blessed and they know exactly what they want to do from birth. I wasn't one of those people, but I really took the time to try and figure out the things that kind of filled my cup and made me happy and got me excited, and have kind of naturally followed my career path that way. Do you remember when you came in and interviewed with us?
I do. What not to do for an interview was probably my interview. I think I was running late from a nail appointment, actually. No, but I remember being really nervous because I hadn't had much experience. It was kind of like an intern role that I was going for. I didn't really know much about the industry at all, or kind of the agency. So I was kind of just really like putting myself out there. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think I'm a very organized person. So I was super anal about like prepping all of my answers. Like I was over prepared, which I think is definitely a good thing to be for any kind of interview. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And obviously worked.
Yeah, exactly right. I think some other like general good advice around just career development and advancement. One thing that I always recommend, whether it's working with an agency or working at a client side or any type of business, is the work you're doing is important, but not as important as the person that you're going to be working with. Like your manager has a much higher impact on your role than the day-to-day of what you do, right? Like I see that time and time again. Really, when I think about going into an interview, number one, you should be trying to figure out like, hey, can I work with this person? Am I going to be able to learn off this person? And do I believe that they're going to continually invest in their time and effort into me? And if those things are true, you'll probably have a great experience. You'll probably learn a shitload, and you'll be able to kind of have a relationship that, you don't know where it goes, but probably going to go in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note as well, there's also some kind of things to look out for as well when you're going into an interview. Make sure you do your research on the company as much as you kind of can anyway, on like just the little things, like if they have a really high turnover of staff, for example, like maybe that's not the best sign. That it's like a really positive workplace. Just little things that you can definitely kind of pick up on or look into before your interview to understand if it's going to be kind of worth your time.
Yeah. And I think interviewing is a skill as well. Like the more you do it, the better you get at it. So don't be afraid to have a few swings and not make quite good contact, as they say.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, as long as you're respectful of everybody's time and you're trying to find the right fit for your career and the company, people genuinely understand. Okay, I think about maybe sharing some fundamentals of kind of digital marketing, what's kind of true, what's always going to be true. The ones that kind of stand out to me, I've got 3 here. Number 1 is, think big and, make it quantitative, create big ideas and try and have a big impact in whatever that you do, and make sure that you can kind of back it with some quantitative numbers, right? Make sure it's testable, it's attributable to what the business is trying to achieve, but don't be afraid to think big. I think, coming to a new company, it's an amazing opportunity to have a new impact, share new ideas, and genuinely kind of put your thinking out there. Like, I think that's something that that's super important. The other one I thought about is I've got the note here, which is basically think like a capital allocator, right? Think like you are instead of thinking like a marketer, think like, hey, I own the bank of this company and it's my job to figure out the things that I believe are the best use and investment of our marketing capital, whether that's time or actual, investment or money spent. So that's number 2, is think like a capital allocator, not just a marketer. And number 3, a fundamental is know your customer. Just know your customer. Don't be selling flower pots to insurance brokers. Don't be selling shoes to people trying to sell and buy pools. Like, know your customer. And probably the next step above that is actually don't just know who they are, but know how they think, know how they behave, know their problems, and know their experiences. So those 3 things, think big, make it quantifiable, be a great capital allocator of time and resource, and understand your customer. You bring those kind of 3 things, I think you're going to go in a good direction.
Yeah.
Is there anything else fundamental wise that you've kind of picked up?
No. Not at this stage. I'm sure there's many. I can't think about any right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, hopefully people got a little bit out of what we kind of went through today. Make sure you like and subscribe, join the channel. Let us know if you've got any feedback, and bye.